Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, each and every one of you, your friends, your family, and all of your relations will to accept and receive the healings, the knowledge, and the wisdom of the universe. And I greet you with cosmic hugs and love and say, hey, everybody, on this Thursday evening. A little different time, 9:30. Hi, Teresa. Hi, Tooth and Me. How are you? You need to share this out. Peace out. Or peace in, I guess. Peace be to you, my brothers and sisters. Well, I decided I was going to do this at 10 o'clock, and then I was like, my energy flow has been doing this number. Yesterday, we had a really big Shaman resonance application thing show up, and it seemed to be charged up, but at the same time, for whatever reason, it seems out of balance for me. So instead of being like, let me get up and go, clean the house or chase the dog through the yard or something, it's more like a, awake and aware of some things, but not necessarily willing well, and it was raining yesterday, which we need the rain. But at the same time, I was like, I could have done some things and ended up being lazy. But, hey, I'm an old geezer. I got the right? But anyway, been in doing my snooping on the internet and looking at things and meditating on things and watching folks and listening in and, basically lurking in the background a lot of times. I noticed that, for us old timers growing up, in the 60s and 70s, there was you could follow a particular pattern. In other words, okay, let's talk about the puzzle of life, for example. So you dump all these pieces out on the ground or out on the table, right? And you're sorting through them. And some of these things, you see that you know what the picture is. Now, that's part of the problem of us today. The picture on the box keeps changing. Hey, Delaney, how are you? Greetings and blessings to you and in your wherever you may be. So we got this picture on the box. So you go to high school, you graduate, you take a job or apprentice back in the day, and or you go to college or whatever, right? We go in the military. So there's a picture on the box. And with that picture, you can say, well, I'm going in the Navy. Well, there's a picture of ocean and the South Sea Islands, and you kind of got a picture. And so when you see the pieces, you go, well, here's green. That's not the ocean. That's grass. And here's the blue, and here's clouds, and here's this, and so you can kind of sort it out. So now in life, as many of us know, the picture on the box has changed. So all the puzzle pieces are still dumped out on the table, but the pictures don't match the puzzle pieces. In other words, okay, so in my older age, what I planned on doing was I was retired. I got a modest income, and I was going to travel around and do puppet shows for people, whether they paid me or not. I was going to travel around and do puppet shows and storytelling and live out of the truck and a trailer and whatever. And that didn't work. I'm here at the house most of the time, where I used to be very mobile. I used to go to Tennessee or North Carolina, North Georgia, Florida. I was moving all the time. And now I haven't moved hardly in years, especially considering the traveling I used to do. So with that said, the picture on my box changed. So I'm still me. I still have the storyteller. I still have all these things that are still part of a picture, not necessarily the picture a few years back. So the box has changed. You know what I mean? So, but I still have all these puzzle pieces at my age that I have collected: carpentry, plumbing, electronics, all of this stuff. So these are my puzzle pieces for my life. They are who I am. It's my experiences up to this point. And so I can take the puzzle pieces that already exist and try to see how they fit with the new picture. Now, in a lot of ways, man, you've got the male female part, and it's like these two. Nah, it's either they're cockeyed ones instead of being a one. It's nuts, right? The puzzle pieces are not fitting together, which means the plans that we have of life to put our life together, the puzzle pieces, as I'm referring to them. So you say you went to college, or you may be in college, or your college got disrupted. All this stuff that's going on now. You had a job and you were making money. Now all of a sudden things have gone on the toilet. For many people, that's the truth. So, but what we need to do is how to modify what we already know to an ever-changing picture, because we don't know what tomorrow's picture is going to be. We have no idea whether or not how we fit into tomorrow's picture, into the puzzle piece that is us and life and etc. So first of all things, I have found that to look at the basics, for example, first we recognize the picture is not the same. The picture I'm looking at now, as far as life is concerned, has changed in the last 5 months. It's changed in the last 1 month. It's changed in the last 2 weeks. The stores are putting up things now where people weren't wearing masks. I went to town the other day and everybody had a mask on because Dollar General put a sign on the door saying, well, you should wear a mask whenever possible. And I'm going, wait a minute. These same people 10 days ago, a week ago, weren't doing this. 1 or 2 people had a mask on. Now it was only 1 or 2 people in the store, and it was not necessarily crowded, but there was 10 people in the store. But, only 2 of us didn't have masks. And one of the ladies behind the counter wasn't wearing a mask. And I thought, well, of all the people, she should be the one. But to my point, so what I talked about 2 weeks ago was like, oh, these people down here and everybody's getting along and blah, blah, blah. Now all of a sudden, 10 days later, I go to the same damn store and I'm going, it's okay. But young people, old people, they all got their mask on and they're all doing this thing. And I'm like, what happened in the last week? I'm just asking. Now, I'm not a hawker of the news. I scan through the headlines and I'm keeping up with what's going on in Hong Kong and South Korea and over here and over there. And I'm reading the British news and RT and, I'm hitting all the major stuff and I'm watching the craziness. And I'm thinking to myself, now, wait a minute. First we were here. Then we kind of slid back down and then we sort of jumped up again. And now it's almost like we have, as far as being scared of it, we have went from not being afraid to now everybody's like, well, we got to be protected, we can't do this, and Walmart's done a thing and you can't go in the Walmart store without a mask and all the rules and all the the different places. Tallahassee is pretty much you can't go anywhere without a mask. It might even be all of Leon County. And it's like, well, if I go into a place, I would put a mask on. But if I'm walking around on the street, I ain't wearing no mask. I'm sorry. They can arrest me, take me to jail, but I'm not going to Tallahassee either. Okay. So now, what has this got to do with it? This is a puzzle piece that keeps changing. The picture on the box is changed. And one of the things we have to figure out, I know I am, thus this conversation, how do my puzzle pieces that were obviously from an older puzzle fit into this new paradigm. How do I know what to expect, what to do, what my knowledge can or cannot do, and whether or not somebody else is going to impose some crap on me that I simply refuse to participate in? For example, if they tell me that I got to go get a vaccine, I ain't going. I'm just not going. There's a lot of now, but my situation is, then I could die by, whatever, having not been to the doctor in 3 years. Who knows what my blood pressure is or what my blood sugar is or anything like that. But, oh, well, I'm getting old. What the hell? But at the same time, I'm not freaked out about it. But if I got to go get a shot to be seen or something like that, then I'm just not going to go. I'm going to take my chances of just being a human being and let, God and the spirits deal with me as they will. Not that I'm trying to, force an issue here, but not everybody has that same opportunity as I do to say, nope. Now they could hold me down and give me a shot. All right. But now there are people that are going to have to make the decision as to whether or not to take a vaccine. And I just got to say, I'm heartfelt with you, because the answer for me would be, I'm sorry, you're not going to inject me with anything else. At my age, I've had so much crap injected into me, so many pills, so many drugs, so many stuff. I'm still trying to figure it all out. I used to have a type of neuropathy where you kind of do this with your fingers and your thumb, and the restless leg syndrome. Now, once in a while, I have a tendency to do that. And once in a while, I find myself doing this number with my forefinger and thumb. And I look down and go, oh, that's interesting. What's that from? But the thing is my pops died doing this. And a neuropathy that started in his late 60s and went in, I think he died when he was 72 or 3. I'm not quite sure. He had just had a birthday. But and he was taking a bunch of drugs, is my point. I'm not taking those drugs. So the neuropathy and types of restless leg and things like that, I don't have those symptoms any longer. Now, so I know from my own chemistry and my own history, my own puzzle pieces, that I've been able to get by so far, and that some of the things that I may have just might actually just be nothing more than old age. Okay. And, with all the drugs I've had in my own system, but especially all the head bangs I've had, all the traumatic brain injuries, it still is amazing that I can, not every day do I get up and walk and talk, but I'm very proud and glad that on the days that I do or can get up and walk and talk. Today's one of them, but it's little short walks. There's no mile walks on a day like today. But so puzzle pieces. Where do we go from here? What do we do? What can we do? And the first thing we need to understand is that it's changing. So if you say, well, I had all these puzzle pieces out over here on the side of the table, and, the tree was going together, and I found the little birdie one, and, and the cloud one, and they all fit together. And this whole corner of the puzzle was coming together really nice. Now, all of a sudden, instead of being a mountain scene, we're on the ocean. I know that's, but or a desert scene. And you go, well, wait a minute, what, I got trees over here, and now the picture on the box has changed. I know, strange analogy, right? But to the point, though, we are living in a kaleidoscope world at the moment. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Kaleidoscope. So we don't know what the next view is going to be. But we've got all these puzzle pieces, which is our personality, our spirit, it's us. We've got all these pieces laid out on the table, so to speak. And many of us who are especially trying to understand our lives and where do we fit in the universe, and all this other kind of really good stuff. We've sort of, not necessarily the pieces are together, but we've got all the blue colors together. We've got all the greens together. We've got all the colors that need to be together. Now, it's whether or not they fit this ever-changing picture. So, for example, if you're a nurse, well, you can probably bet that nursing skills, especially with all this stuff, is a talent that's not going to go away. You chose nursing, maybe for the money, but if you're only in nursing for the money, you picked a crummy job. But the idea, though, that you somehow wish and want to help people, otherwise you wouldn't go through all that, poking people and dressing wounds and cleaning up crap. I've got several friends who are nurses, and it does take a special person. And salute and kudos to them folk. And I've worked in the health profession before with nursing homes, and I wasn't actually a caregiver per se, but I worked with the mentally handicapped and the physically handicapped. And so I've worked in that field, and I understand a lot of it, and have been being a patient of mental health. But so you have to look at, all right, here's all the green sections. Here's all the blue sections. Here's all the what look like clouds or something with your puzzle. And you have to say, okay, first off, I can't get pissed, which is what we all want to do. I mean, my normal cycle of I'd wait till the evening and I'd go do this. And now in the evening, a lot of things are closed where they used to be open at this time of the year, till 9 o'clock at night. Now they're closing at 7. And it's too hot for me to take the dog. And I haven't trained him well enough to stay in the house and me leave him by himself yet. We're still yet to cross that bridge. But it's too hot to take him in town and have him in the truck, and there are laws against that. And, well, how long has your dog been in the truck? Well, 10 minutes. He sat outside for an hour in the sun. Not that I want to, make my dog sit in a hot vehicle, not the point. But, the windows are going to be down, and he's going to have some water, and, and I'm not going to do it in the hottest part of the day. But there are people, oh, my God, the dog's in the, I'm talking about you, Duggar. He's over there looking out the window. I haven't fed the cats yet tonight. Robert V, Debbie Bell. Let me put my glasses on and say hi to everybody. Robert V, it's good to see you. Teresa, as always. Debbie Bell. I think I said hi to Miss Delaney. You were there a little bit ago. I know. Teresa. This computer, Project Skyfalls, how are you? Things to all y'all. Teresa, Delaney, Truth in Me. Yep. Okay, I think I caught up with saying hi to everybody. Yeah, this scrunchy thing. Greetings and cheers, everybody. But anyway, so with this ever-changing picture, the first thing we need to understand is it's going to change, all right? It's going to change. Where before we could say that the change might actually have been over 6 months or a year or several years or whatever. And, like, for example, you want to go to college, you want to get a degree, it takes X amount of time. That's a puzzle piece. So, you're working on it. But you got a goal, it's got its own color, whatever it is, versus, I'm going to be a mechanic or a nurse. You're still taking things apart and putting them back together again and fixing them. But the idea, though, that, you know which avenue you want to go in. Well, I don't like, I'm saying this, somebody else says, I don't like nursing. I don't like blood and guts and all that, but I can take a computer apart. Well, then you may go into the medical profession, but working on computers. I had a friend of mine who serviced CT scanners. He made a very nice living, and he was really good at what he did. Gaza, hi, how are you? Greetings. I ain't gonna put my glasses on because then I'll watch that too much. Not that I don't care what you all say, but in trying to get out, in my traumatic brain, my TBI, injuries. When the thought comes to me that this needs to be discussed or whatever, the best thing to do is allow the sentences to come up. That's why I was so good at and won several awards for extemporaneous speaking, which means somebody gives you a topic and they say, okay, but you have to stick within a timeline and all that anyway for another topic. But blessed with the gift of gab. But anyway, I'd like to try to stay on the topic. So we've got all these puzzle pieces that are us. It's us, you know. My puzzle's slightly different than somebody else's, but we may both be engineers, or both have worked with AutoCAD, or both worked in some kind of something, you know, in designing something. There are those folks who have been in theater or worked in something, or musician or something like that. Okay, so, and me being a jack of all trades, I have played music and done theater. I've done all these things, not to brag. It's just that I have, and I've had a 68 years to be able to do them in. You know, at one time I was in 2 plays at one time. Ooh, hey, let's all say hello to Bob. Bob, I know you're in there, and I should always say thank you, Bob, ahead of time. But Bob, thank you very much, and whatever glitching's going on, we'll see if I can help rectify. There's not much hooked up to the internet, but I can see that it's glitching. Anyway, so my puzzle pieces, now I don't have to go to work, although there are projects and things that I would like to achieve and do. I don't have to worry about going out and working for a living to get income because I'm retired. But back in the day, you know, I had to have to figure out what time I was going to be here and there and blah, blah, blah. And when I was doing work for other people, you know, I had to have material lists and, you know, and cost analysis and all this kind of stuff, where I don't have to worry about that now. I worry about my own cost analysis, but to the point though, Bob, I got coffee over there, but this is getting warm, so. I love the black cherry flavor. None of the other flavors work for me, but anyway. And one a day for a couple of days, I'll have one when I go to the store. So, but anyway, people are having trouble adjusting. So consider the old days, and in some places they still do it. But the loggers would chop down these huge trees, run them down inside of mountains. They still do this, and drop them into the river and float them down. So you'd see these loggers out there walking around on top of these big logs in the middle of the river, you know, and you'd see them doing this and steering them. Oh my God. Well, I had the opportunity years ago to try some of that with some really big logs on the water. It ain't easy. It is not easy. Boy, howdy. I thought I got some decent balance, but I ain't no tightrope walker. And standing on a moving log that rolls and moving this way and, you know, and sideways, a tightrope is safer. Trust me. But so I know about trees, I know about logs, I know about lumber, but I ain't going to get on one of them things and ride it down no river, you know. Now, it might be a skill I should have to learn, but I'm hoping I can just stand on the sideline and yet somebody else do that. So, but they don't do that as much as they used to. They truck things out and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so my point to this is our skill sets have changed. So instead of riding down the river on one of these things, they load them onto trucks and drive them out. And so the truckers now are some of the same type of people who used to ride on the logs. Things have changed. They still need logs. They still need to cut trees. They still do that, you know, but so the picture has changed. That one, not so much as some of these other pictures. And I mean, you know, medical profession. A medical profession is still pretty much there. They're going through more tech things and, you know, you got to wear a mask everywhere and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, so things have gotten a little more dicey in the medical profession, but the profession itself hasn't really changed. It's tried to get better and da, da, da. Okay. So architects, You know, you can now, instead of big drawings and tables and flipping through, it's all on the computer. But you still have to understand, you know, strength and stress of materials. You still have to know what a the difference between the weight load of a 2x4 and a 2x6 and the 2x8, why and stress. You know, you got to know this stuff. Same thing in engineering. But the machines may change, but the basics are still there. The architecture may change, and how you design the structures have changed, but the basics are still there. Not everything is true in that now. You used to be able to go down to the local pub. Now they want to close down all the pubs. And I say, look, if the owner says it's all right to smoke in their pub, bar, whatever, and I choose to go in that bar, then I'm going to put up with the smoke. If I don't like it, I can leave. And if somebody walks into that establishment and says, I'm sorry, you know, it says, you know, that, and if all the people in the room pull out their cigars and go, shut up, go home, you know, this is a smoking pub. Okay. So if I choose to go to a pub with a bunch of other people that want to go to the pub, it should be our business if we want to go to the pub. But now the other people want to control us and say, yeah, but if you go to the pub, and I mean go to the pub without wearing a mask, okay? I'm talking about just go to the pub. Let's play some darts, shoot a little pool, you know, maybe a little card game or here or two, you know, on the side. But the idea, if I want to go to it, and I get sick or something, I've gone to restaurants and got ptomaine poisoning, okay? And it's like, thought I was gonna die and made it through. Not that I try to push my luck, but to the point though, if I choose to go to a place, that's my choice. Now, I can see where a government place or a mall or, you know, but if somebody has an establishment, a restaurant, listen, you can come to our restaurant. I don't care if y'all want to have sit 15 people to a table. We'll pull the tables together, you know? If people want to come to the establishment and now as the owner or a waiter or whatever, I have the choice to wear a mask myself because there are a lot of folks coming in and out. But my point to that is it should be my choice, not somebody else's. So now we have to deal with it's not our choice anymore. They're trying to take our choices away. And I would say, you know what? I don't want to walk into the hospital with a bunch of sick people without a mask. Not because I'm sick, but I really don't want to get what they've got. I've gone to the doctor before, and just by going into the doctor's office, 4 days later, I was sick as a dog. And you say, well, you know, well, listen, we don't wash our hands enough. You know, when sick people go congregate in one place, you think none of it is, you know, well, hang on here. We should rethink the medical profession in that respect. If you're sick, not a problem, but maybe we should not put you in a room with a bunch of other sick people. I mean, like, you know, for me, okay, got a stomach ache. No, but if I'm hacking and sneezing and coughing, I should not go into a waiting room to see the doctor. We need to change some certain things. This person's got a cold. Why are you coming in? Well, stay in your car and we'll come get you. So we can just bring you right in and take you right through instead of you sitting in the waiting room with all these other folks whose ailments aren't like that. You've got little kids that are wiping their snot on the chairs, and you don't know. Now, I'm not a germophobic, but since I have not been to the doctor, I've not been very sick these last 3+ years. Interesting. Well, I don't go out into public as often either, so, you know, I'm not picking up other people's coughs and things, but specifically, I was going to the doctor once a month for my checkup. And at least once a month, I'd be sick. at least once a month. And I mean, with stomach problems and this and that. I haven't had a real stomach ache, knock on wood, for a while. And it's like, and I have, literally been camping on the river and washed my stuff out with dirt, to get it out of the pan, rinse it out. Dirt makes a really good sand thing when you're cleaning out your pan. And rinse it in the river and dry it by shaking it and eating out of it. And, I could have gotten a lot of stuff, stomach ailments, the runs. No. Interesting. So where we go and what we do, and of course now I don't have chicken and pork and beef, beef once in a while, where I'm handling it live. Now, to me, that's made all the difference. I've used canned meat and frozen stuff, but my point is that I used to have a lot of chicken. So I'd handle chicken, and I don't care as much as you want to wash your hands off, you're going to get it on you, It's going to be on a surface, and you can wipe it, wash it, but what if you get just a little bit in you, just because? And that's that. But my point is that since I have not been eating that way over the last few years, I don't have the stomach aches. I don't have the this and the that, and I don't have the interesting. So it is how we treat ourselves as part of this puzzle of being sick is where I'm headed with this. We have control of that. You can control well, I went to this restaurant and, it's not that the place is clean or dirty. That's not it. I've eaten in some places that you'd go, you went in there and ate. Oh, the food was great and I never got sick. It's how they prepare it. It's how they care for it. I don't know. But I was thinking of a Chinese restaurant and it looked like hell in the back. Now, and they always got wrote up for not, 80% for cleanliness. They never won, but their food was great and I never got sick. But anyway, puzzle pieces. So you're in the restaurant business, you're in this kind of business. So now our lives we don't have a clue what tomorrow's going to bring. So that makes every single one of us anxious. Now, complain or say yes or no, but I know you'll agree with me on that point. We're all anxious. I mean, I'm sitting here earlier today and looking at some stuff going, when in the fart did this happen? What started this why are so many people seem to be headed down this road? What? So even though the picture on my puzzle box is different, because my life is different at this age. I'm not looking for a career. I'm not out looking for this or that, so the picture on my box is different. I can change that picture if I want. And that's the interesting thing in life. It doesn't have to be the same box for the puzzle, right? But we can still use the pieces of the sky or pieces of the land or trees or the forest or something. If you're a desert person, then put in some sand. Me, not so much a desert person. Nah, it's interesting, but I wouldn't want to live there. I'm sorry. I've been out west. Stayed a few days. I walked through the desert. Now it's really cool. I'd like to go visit once or twice a year or something, just to go visit the monuments and stuff. And the desert and out west is really cool, but I would not live there. Now, if it was in where there were trees and rocks and desert, nah, I'm not that person. I don't think I could change. Now, I could be forced to change and I would adapt, but that's a different story. So around here, for example, a lot of farmers, they're going to do their farming because they don't really deal with a lot of other people. So the farming community is still farming. Now, who's working for them, that's a separate issue. And as far as, a lot of Mexican labor, no, I'm not being prejudiced or whatever. It's the truth. There is a crap load of Mexican labor down here in the South, and that travels between farms. Some of it, they're green card Mexicans. But most of them are hard workers, and I don't know about paying tax, but they are all hard workers because I've done farm work in the past, and it ain't easy. So kudos to them folks that want to do it, even though they may not be citizens. They are paying some kind of taxes, and they're buying products here. All right, what's that got to do? All of these are puzzle pieces. Now, whether or not they strictly, I really don't know if they strictly relate to me or not. I'm teasing, but um, Chloe, Terry, how are you? Project Skyfall, Debbie, I think I said hi earlier. Let me see if anybody glad I caught you at work and having a rough time. Can't chat, but love each and every single one of you. This community truly soothes my soul. Chloe, blessings to you. Everybody send a hug to Chloe and to each other. But blessings. You hang out back there in the back, Chloe. We'll be thinking of you. But in everything, my sister was talking about how, things have had to change in her work relationship down there around Zephyr Hills and Dade City. A lot more people down there. But the society of the old folk and how people look at things and, but for normal folk, our hey, Jody, how are you? Blessings to you. The picture on the box, if somebody dies, like our good friend Milky Way, Brian, our pictures have changed because our feelings have changed. And how we look at life or death or spirituality or something, many of us are still working that one out with our brother Brian. But as far as other people changing, like a group of folks saying you can't come in without a mask, or you can't do this without that, or you're going to have to get this vaccine, or you can't do whatever. And there have been times in my life where I've said, you know what? It's going to be tough, but I just ain't going to do that. I just ain't going to do it. And one of them was that for all my aches and pains and everything, to be an engineer, they wanted me to give up weed. Okay. I'm just going to flat out say it. And I got my little bowl, and there have been times when I was having a little bit of creative difficulty, and I'd get in my little truck and go down to the local store and get me a Mountain Dew or something, and take me 2 or 3 hits off a bowl, smoke a cigarette, and go back to the plant and go to work for hours and hours on and fix or solve or whatever it was that was an issue. And if they'd have said that I couldn't have had my couple of hits of weed, during the day, or I wasn't stoned all the time. Don't get me wrong, but when you're working on 200 pieces that all have to fit together and work in a machine, I put my headphones on and I go off into my little 3D world. And it helped me out greatly. It made me one of the best engineers there. They fired 4 other engineers before they got rid of me. But they wanted me to come back to work after they fired me, but through a different agency who required that I pee. And I said, no. Well, you can go to work, back to work tomorrow, $1 an hour less, but you can be working for us and blah, blah, blah. But you got to pee in this cup right now. Well, no, because I just had a couple of hits off my bowl on the long drive up to Tifton. So I'm like red hot, going to show up. It's going to show up and jump out of the darn pecan, right? No. And so I folded my hands and said, you know what? I'm passing up $19 an hour. But I refuse to be forced to pee in a cup. And that if I peed in the cup and I had tested positive, don't know what would have happened, but they wouldn't have hired me back. So the idea though, that it's like, no, I'm sorry, I gave up $19 an hour. And I knew my job well, so I knew where everything was. It wasn't like I had to learn something new. And I said, no. And after many years, in a way, I regret it, but there's no way. I'd had to quit smoking for 3 months to get it all out of my system for all the years I've been smoking. And I realized, wait a minute, the economy was changing, the company was moving, and this was going to be a short-term operation anyway. And if I tested positive, then anything, and I just said, screw this. No, this is the end of this part of this life. And as much as I really like $19 an hour, no. And I didn't jump through any more of their hoops. And at the end of it, I'm glad I was really damn poor, having made $20 an hour for a while and then get down to $250 a week, instead of $2,000 a month, I'm $1,000 a month, my income was cut more than half. But anyway, so but I'd been poor before, so what the hell? But the idea, though, that someone was going to force me because they want you, if you want to be part of this, then you're going to have to do this. And I said, no. So people say, well, have you ever had to make that hard decision? Yeah, I guess. There was a time when I went to apply for another job and they said, you've been in jail? And I said, yeah. And they were like, and in front of everybody in the waiting room there. And the thing is, I had already, the job I was applying for, I used to do it before. And so I was just like, hey, let me, maybe if there's a couple of guys at the plant, I know how to grind these damn broaches. I know how to check them out. Then they wouldn't have to teach me anything. I would just have to get back into the groove, So, but the people at the employment agency said, you're a felon in front of this whole waiting room, which is against the law, I might add up, but made me feel about this big. And I said, you know what? I ain't applying for this shit no more. If I can't find a job somewhere else that you've committed a felony. Yeah, a couple of them, by the way, but I'm clean and I'm sober and blah, blah, blah. And at the time I hadn't even smoked any weed. So I was pretty clean. And we can't hire you. You're an ex-felon. I was an ex-felon when I worked with these people before. So what? Times have changed. So the picture on the boxes changes, my point. They needed qualified help, but refused to hire a person that already worked for them who had 4 years experience and was one of the best had ever been there by the people who trained me. But no, I'm a felon and I can't work there. I was a felon when I worked there before, is my point, but no, well, we can't accept you now. Why? The picture changed. Did my skill set change? No. Did the job necessarily change? No. They need qualified, honest to God, good machinists who know what the hell they're doing. And, well, we're sorry. We didn't catch it before because we didn't do the screenings that we do now. So, no, we can't hire you back. Bye. So what do? We adapt. Of all the things that's happened to me over the years that I can give you a positive thing is learn how to adapt. If something pisses you off, you got a nail, you got stuck on the side of the road. And, have I got stuck on the side of the road down here in the South? Keep it between the ditches. When it rains around here and the clay that has been dust turns to muck, there's about an inch layer that just turns slippery, slimy, skaggy. Oh my God, you can't even walk in it sometimes, let alone drive a vehicle. And so to keep it between the ditches, some of these ditches are over my head. So you land in one of them, now it ain't mountainous or not, but we've got some hills and whatever, but you still don't want to end up in a ditch because you got to get out. But I've got to come along and I've got a this and a that and a chain and this, and us folks around here, we tied 2 vehicles together with a chain and used a come along and got my brother out of the ditch one time. I mean, it's amazing when you don't get all, your panties in a bunch. You look around and say, okay, what is available for me to get myself out of this? All right. So For each of us, now that they keep changing this picture, it's a kaleidoscope. Every day, it's a different picture. We don't know if it's going to be the same picture 2 days in a row or through an afternoon, right? So the first thing we do is remember we don't panic. Oh my God, my boat tipped over. Don't panic. Oh my God, something, something. Don't panic. Oh, I got a grease fire. Okay, fine. Baking soda. Always have some baking soda around. Don't panic, learn certain key basic things so that if something happens, it's like being a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout, at least back in the day, to be prepared, right? And, it doesn't mean that you have to have a bunch of stuff. Hey, David Castle, Cherry, Truth in Me, Teresa, Project, Cherry, Debbie Bell. I think I said hi to everybody. Okay, so the first, and if you're not very good at adapting, well, then find situations, put yourself in situations. For example, for me, for camping, I know I use this a lot, but you go down on the river with just a limited amount of stuff, and you say, okay, you might not say I'm going to spend the night, but I'm going to go down, I'm going to build a fire, I'm going to cook a can of beans, and I'm going to do this. But I've only got this, like I've got a pocket knife, I got this, I got some string, I got a lighter, and I got, but I'm going to go down on the river, and instead of taking a bunch of camping gear, I'm going to take one thing and a this and a that, and I'm just, going to go. And I'm going to make do, and I'm going to figure it out when I get there. So I have put myself into situations that I got to look around and think, like this finger is still numb, and it's been about a year ago, and I hit it with a machete, the back of the machete, and it cut my nerve right here, and it's still numb. But I'm bleeding, holy hell! I'm down on the river, and I don't have the medical kit. I'm bleeding. I mean, like bleeding. It ain't like, ooh, look, trickle, trickle. No, I'm bleeding here. I got to stop this. So and for 30 seconds to a minute, I was in a panic. Holy crap, because it hurt. So what do? Look around, calm down, calm down. I put my finger on it, and slowed it down. What do? I don't have any bandages. And I used this thing that I put in my pocket at the last minute. Tied it up and did my thing, and there's no scar, but my finger's still numb where I hit the nerve. But anyway, the first thing you will do is panic. But the control comes in. Holy crap. Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah, I'm going to bleed it. Nah, no. Okay. I got this. What do I do next? All right. What's around me? Life is like that. So situation puts you in. You've never been in it before. Look around and see what's at your disposal. There might be something back in a corner somewhere that you've never used. And I'm just, could be a corner of your brain, an old friend, something. Go, well, I just don't know any way out of this. And a friend of mine called and says, was thinking about you, Dave. Did you ever do that brake job on your truck? And go, no, actually. And I was looking for, well, I'm coming up and, I said, look, I don't care if you help me. You can sit on a chair and I'll serve you tea. Just hang around with me while I'm doing it and we're both mechanics, but we've understood over the years that we still know how to do it, but sometimes we get so far along, we just stop and stare at it. Literally, it's like, and you go, what do you do next? And I've changed brakes and done, we're both mechanics, but to just have somebody sit there and go, yeah, well, don't forget about, oh, thanks, or whatever, and having a conversation and keeps your mind going, and, instead of just being yourself working on something. I have a rear brake job I need to do. Anybody want to volunteer to come sit and watch? Seriously, I do. And seriously, anybody want to? Anyway, but to the point, though, that regardless of how the puzzle picture changes, meaning our everyday life, we've got to be able to look around us and adapt. Use the resources that we've learned. And above all, don't lose faith. Well, I can't do this. Are you sure? Have you ever done it before? You know, I've been dumped out of a kayak in the middle of the river and almost drowned, and I made it out. I didn't think I ever could. And if I'd have said, well, I don't know, I'd about be, I'd probably drowned almost. But there's a something when you say, well, wait a minute, I think I can't wait. I'm literally drowning, then paddle and hard. Well, but I've never paddled this hard. Do you want to live or you want to paddle? I paddled and hard and went, and otherwise I just, I don't know if they'd ever found me at the bottom of the Ochlockonee River. But to the point though, if you've never been in a situation, then don't say you can't do it. Just stay out of that mindset. You say, well, I think I got this. Well, you can cross your arms and fold your arms and go, well, that's interesting. But if you panic and go, I don't know, I've never been in this situation before, we're all gonna die, that sets up a whole nother scenario. So one of the things we need to get used to is if we think that this kaleidoscope of the world is going to slow down with its changes and the things and what's next, and oh, hang on, folks. The next couple of years are going to be really peachy. Now, I don't like to pull the prophecy card. I just don't. 2013, I had a bunch of stuff, and things have come through. And for those of you who are aware of Dante, Azazel, and the Charistus, understand that the next 2, 3, 4 years, and many folks have been warning us that it wasn't 2013. That was just sort of the start of the cycle, but that the things that many of us have seen, we're in the middle of them. Now, I never would have thought in the dream that, or the vision of seeing what's going on, it didn't play out that everybody was wearing a mask and all this, but I did see the suffering and the rioting and the thingy and the da 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 and the wailing and the gnashing of teeth and holy mackerel. And if we think it's over, it ain't. The earth is expanding, okay? And it's going through some changes. We're in a solar cycle. We're crossing over the meridian of the galaxy. And just from a planetary standpoint, I got to say, now, when we look out from our planet, everything's supposed to be on a plane, right? So the next the next planet out, Mars, right? And then Jupiter, and then Saturn. Well, technically, they should all be in a line, right? They should all be lined up. And, right now, Mars is way the hell up in the sky, and Jupiter and Saturn's a little lower than Jupiter, and they're both way low in the sky. So this idea that we're all on this elliptical plane thing is bull. Just want to point that out. Go outside and look, I was like, well, there's Mars and there's Jupiter. Where's this? How is this in a line? And they ain't just in this straight line, by the way. And it might be part of the things that are going on in our solar system where a lot of stuff's wobbling, just got to say. I know I've watched where Jupiter and Saturn are and above the treetop, and I'll stand at the same position where the trees aren't growing that much. So I can stick my fingers, 2, 3, 4 fingers. Where are they in relationship? Same regular time at night. And they're changing. So, and like I'm sitting here looking out at the moon right now. Now, the moon was doing this every 2 weeks. It would come down. And then 2 weeks later, it would come up and be straight overhead. And then 2 weeks later, it would be moving back down. So new moon was low and full moon was straight overhead. Not so last 2 months. Full moon has been down in this low arc. And as it is right now, the moon's in about the same arc it was last full moon. And here in a couple of days, we're going to be coming up on full moon. So, but to the point though, there are some wobbly things going on the planet, in the universe, and it's affecting every single one of us. Along with this craziness that whatever group's behind it, for whatever reason they're behind it, none of us are going to change it on the grand scheme of things. So let's talk about what we can do. It's all in our head. Well, I used to get that. Okay, so you don't. Or it costs you twice as much. Do you really need it? Do you have to have it? Or do you want it? So in all things in life, there are things that I had become so accustomed to that, oh my God, how am I going to live without them? I'm doing just fine. Thank you. Because I've decided, and I've made it up in my own head, that what I thought was really flipping important even 6 months ago is not necessarily as important now, because of how the puzzle that everything has changed, right? So with that said, the puzzles change. The puzzle pieces still got blues and greens and reds and whatever, but the picture keeps changing. So now what do I do? Now what do we do collectively? Because it's affecting every single one of us. We just take stock and go, just hang on a minute. So instead of making long-term plans, and that could be like a week, making long-term plans when things are in such of a flux is understand that I'm going to put out the energy and say, well, I want to go back down to the river. I'm just using this. I'm going to go back down to the river. Me and Duggar, we're going to get back in one of the kayaks and we're going to go down to the river. Okay, well, it's been thunderstorms the last couple of days, and I don't want to get down there and get stuck out in the middle of the lake with thunder and lightning with the dog. It wouldn't bother me, but now I got a dog to contend with. So it's like, okay, so I could blame the dog because otherwise I would have already gone. But I can't blame the dog because I chose to adopt Duggar. So I can bitch, moan, and jump up and down. Whoa, my picture has changed in that I just can't go anymore and just go to the river because I got the dog. So, but what I'm figuring out is it ain't the dog's fault. I just need to figure out how me and the dog can go anytime I want to. So it's not the dog's fault. But although the picture has changed, you follow me? Still got puzzle pieces to go with this. But now I've got a separate thing. Well, as a big dog, my little Sasha, she could sit in my lap and did when I was in the kayak. But, Duggar's almost as big as I am, he stretches out more on the couch. I'm like, move over, boy. But so we must learn to adapt. Understand, if we think this is going to slow down anytime soon, no. Now, we can all pray that it doesn't speed up. That's a good thing. We can keep talking with each other and our family members. Try not to alienate any more people. If they don't agree with everything that we believe, okay, but we need to reach out to other people, if nothing else, than to keep them from going too freaky deaky the other side. Okay. We just need to help whether they believe us or not, or believe what we believe in the spirit and conspiracies and all that, but we can be supportive and go, you know what? Times are tough for all of us. And we can be strong there. And times are tough for all of us. Harder on some folks than others, in that I've learned how to be a poor man and how to survive on next to nothing. And so far everything's okie dokie. I'm still here. And could I have a few extra things, or I really want my roof leak fixed, but okay. So if it rains, I'm sort of like Snuffy Smith. Let me go get a bucket. Okay. I'll live through it. It used to be that when it rained hard, real bad, that my literally water would flow through my kitchen. It literally comes up through the floor. I'm working on that. Come up through the floor and run out of my house. I'm not lying. Used to have to dam up part of the kitchen floor over there so it wouldn't flood right through the house. I know, craziness. But it's only in very high times of like 8, 9, 10 inches of rain. Extremely, you know, extreme situations of rain. And recently I've got part of the problem fixed. I'm working on it. But anyway, it was who knew? It's a concrete floor. Who knew that there was going to be so much water pressure in my hill? It would literally pop up through the floor. So I've had to deal with that over the years, and I've got a halfway decent solution that seems to be working, at least on one side of the house. And I haven't gotten to the other corner yet, but to the point though, we adapt. It's leaking. Okay, move the computer and put up a bucket. Oh my God, we can stand there and go, oh, Jesus Christ, the roof is leaking. Yeah. So get a bucket. But the roof is, so get a bucket. But the roof is, so get a bucket. And some people don't know how to get a bucket. Or if they don't have, but I don't have a bucket, well, then get a towel. But I don't have a, would you rather it leak all over your stuff or you want to put something down? But if I, if all I had was a mink coat, I'd put, well, maybe not a mink, you know what I mean? Well, I can buy another one of these, or I can clean it up, or it'll go in the wash. There's something. Oh my God, I can't do this because it's a good towel. Well, so then, but it's also good furniture that's getting soaked. You're going to get a bucket or you're going to get a towel. But just do it, Not to say that you should go off half-cocked, but the idea, though, that people don't know how to react to just minor things. And it's everyday things in life. Oh, my God, they got stopped by a train and there were people in the thing and they were, and you're all upset about it. Oh, stop it. I used to be that way. But, I see people arguing in the store and I go, those two people are arguing in the store. One's talking about this and the other one's talking about... What the hell does it matter to me? And I would pick up other things and carry them forth because something about the conversation affected me. So I would throw my emotions into it. So I'd retell the story with all this pain and frustration and hey, let's kill them all, When that is just sweating, we're sweating the small stuff here. What's the bigger picture? Do you have enough food? Is your electricity on? Can you communicate with people? I got a vehicle that I don't know how long she's going to last. Literally, she's almost got 300,000 miles on her, and most of her is original. So, how long is my truck going to last? I don't know. But if I'm going to have to think to the future somehow, whether to fix her or do or something, but she's not going to last forever. I'm going to have to do work on her. So I can look out there at the truck and go, well, she's old and everything, and I don't drive very much. But one of these days, is she going to start for me? Is the timing belt going to break because I haven't changed it in 100,000 miles? Is something else going to something because I haven't paid it enough attention? I don't know. But, in my lackadaisical, well, I'll just get away with it right now. We do need to look forward with some of the things that are in our life. If you got a bald tire, then get another one. Even if it's a used one part-time. People say, well, I can't afford a new tire. So then get a junker. Get a tire that'll get you by. Well, but I've wasted money. Yeah, but if you don't have enough money for a $60 tire or $100 tire, but you got $20 to put on a fairly good used one, put the $20 on it and drive it until you got enough money. But, but I don't have enough. Well, I'll go into this. But the only solution, though, is a new tire. And that's not always the solution, And it's not everything you come up to. There may be only one solution, but I doubt it. Well, there are several people that I've known over the years to have had elective surgeries or whatever. You know, like I had neck surgery. They wanted to put me in for a fourth time. And I said, no. Well, but you know, we can help take out and we can put in some donor bone and we can. No, I've had donor bone. I don't know who that was they put in my neck, but I could not wait for them to get that bone out of me. Oh my God. And it took a while, a couple of years for my body to like, there was a time when I realized that I had sort of lost my mind and I was going through all this all by myself and I didn't have any family around and I'm trying to take care of myself here at the house and blah, 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 blah. And I've had major surgeries, three of them. And, had to sleep on somebody's couch for a while because I couldn't take care of myself out here. I mean, so been through the gamut, right? So, well, here, let's cut you up again. No. Well, let's do another one of those spinal tap things where they put the juice in your spine and do that. Oh no, don't let them do it to you. Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. I have never been so sick in my life as that because they poke you between your vertebrae and go through the membrane and into your spinal cord. And if there's a little bit of leakage, you will have a headache. My friend Marcia, bless her heart, she was like, those headaches can't be that bad. I'd already had two. Then she went into the hospital, had a similar situation, and she was like, I thought having a baby was tough. Oh my God, I'd rather have 10 babies as to spend one day with one of these myelogram headaches. They're horrible. You know, they want to drain you this and you do than that. I've been more sick from the test they've performed on me than from the actual whatever, Now, knock on wood, up to this point, I've not had any kind of organ failure. I had kidney problems and cleaned it up myself by using mullein oil and teas and things. And I changed how many sodas I drank and I changed, and I don't have the same issues with my kidneys anymore. I fixed it, you know. I went to the doctor. They were going to do all these tests and this and that and the other thing. And I was like, but wait a minute. So, but homeopathic, home remedy types. Well, I did go deeper into the home remedies and with the different oils and stuff at the time. But I changed my lifestyle and I changed my point of view. And I said, y'all ain't going in there after me. And I'm not passing any of these things, blah, 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 kidney stones. Oh, it's painful enough to get epididymitis. And for guys, oh my God, you don't want it. Find out what it is. But if you ever get it, anyway, Gaza, is that Gaza? Howdy. But anyway, so as things change in our lives, get used to it. Now, we're all hoping it'll calm down. But what if it doesn't? What if on a daily basis things are changing? Now, during World War II, well, during the Vietnam War, if you were in Cambodia or Vietnam, you might be sitting in your hooch one day, and the next thing you know, VC are coming at you from both sides, and then the Americans drop napalm on your village. And World War II, there were people in France that one day they were tending their gardens, and the next thing the German Panzer group is riding through the countryside and lining folks up and shooting them and doing all kinds of mean and bad and nasty things. So we may think that we've got it bad. Oh, please don't go there. Is it bad for us in this generation? Yes. It's a lot different. It's very constraining to us and very we have to be. I have to be restrained because I want to go to the store, blah blah blah, but I can't because I got the dog. But the dog's not my only issue. But that with the other things, it makes it a really good excuse. Well, I can't go to the store because it's too hot for the dog. When actually I don't want to go because I don't want to put on some silly mask that I don't have, and I don't want to look like Butch Cassidy or the Sundance Kid. Not that I'm as pretty as either one of them guys, but I'm kidding. But anyway, so realize it's going to change. So look at what you got at your disposal, your own talents, the people that you know. I would suggest not making any new enemies, okay? And maybe trying, depending on the enemy or relative, which could be an enemy, we should patch things up a little bit because, after all, family is family. Not always, but it may be that we might have to rely on someone that we're at least related to put our political or philosophical points of view aside for so we can continue to exist or whatever. Back in the day, everybody got together and shared this and that and food and chickens and eggs and butter. And back in my granny's time during World War II, there was, and my granny that I always talk about, Granny Raleigh, she grew up in the Depression era. And she made potato pancakes that, oh my God, I wish I could make them. I've not found anybody else that has made potato pancakes like Granny did. But anyway. So, but she could take leftovers and turn them into these scrumptious meals that kept you fed and your belly was full and it kept you healthy. But it was also her humming in the kitchen while she cooked. It was the humming and the little singing and the little thing and the stirring with the love and and she shared that love with everybody and um, across the board. And if somebody was hungry, well, come on, let me fix your plate. I'll warm it up for you before microwaves. And so this being separated but being together, because we're all separated together, which is all these oxymorons that are running around. There are a lot of morons running around too. A lot of oxy, as in Oxycontin morons running around. But anyway, I digress. We've got the political thing. Now, for the next 98, 97 days left before, quote, the elections, I'm not such a fan and never have been about this mail-in ballot stuff. Just saying. There ought to be another way. Georgia just invested in brand new voting machines. They've already been tested out during the virus thing, I might add. My friend Marcia works as a volunteer for the voting. I don't have enough sense to be able to go and help out, but otherwise I would. But the people that I have met in our local precincts and so forth down here, they really care. Even if their candidate loses, they want the count to go right. They just, it's in them. I'm working for the polling and I want the count to be right. Now, not everybody has been like that. They found some folks in Moultrie at one election that they were doing some shyster stuff. So who's going to check the people who check the mail for our votes? A machine is one thing, right? Now, so I'm wondering, maybe you could have your vote and you don't just drop it in the mail, but you go and you put it in the machine and out, So it's like you got your little punch card ticket and you go, okay, here's my vote, chink, chink. And it says, okie dokie. And it gives you, and the new readout is you don't get to keep it, but you can check after you cast your vote now, and they keep the paper copy. A lot of little pieces of paper running around, but at least I got a copy, and you can check whether after the vote, whether or not you actually voted for the person you said you did. Okay, that's a step in the right direction. But there's been voter fraud since the first day they started raising their hands. One guy says to the other, listen, I'll let you sleep with my wife if you raise your hand. The guy says, oh man, she's a knockout. Oh, come on, man. Back in the days of the Romans and all that, I got a slave, Hey. But if we think for one moment that there's not some kind of shysterism in the system, because it's a big one, baloney. There is. As long as there's going to be voting, there's going to be somebody in the process who's going to be dishonest. for whatever their potential or for whatever their reason, whether they're paid or they just are grumpy and don't want somebody to win. Who knows? A lot of different reasons. But understand this, we do the best we can. If you decide to mail your vote in, then make sure it gets there. I don't know, deliver it to the building or something and say, well, here's my mail-in vote, versus letting it go through the mail and go through here. Then maybe you take your quote mail-in vote and you take it to your courthouse or the precinct or whatever. Because then you have narrowed down how many people can touch it. That's for one. So there are certain amount of things that we can control. Now, what happens after I turn my ballot over? Who knows, right? So we can prepare as much as we can. So in voting, do the best you can to do what you can if voting is what you're going to do. And, and don't try to let other people pressure in, well, Trump, he's such and such and such. I don't want Biden. I do not. I was a Democrat for years. We even thought I liked Biden. No. He's creepy. He's inefficient. He's got a whole half of what's going on for Trump, whether we like Trump or not. And I'm not going to vote for, I didn't vote for Bush. So we voted one idiot in. We don't need to vote another one in. And God knows who Biden's going to pick as the vice president. VP, one of the couple of choices are like, no, I do not want that person being vice president. I'm sorry, but no. So do I like everything Trump does? Am I trying to say, ooh, we should vote for Trump? No, but I ain't voting for the other guys. And until somebody else comes up, well, what's 4 more years? I put up with 8 years of Bush, made it. Put up with 8 years of Obama, damn near killed us all. I've only been through 4 years of Trump. Why not 4 more? What the hell? All these other idiots and assholes, sent us to war and sent us to, And for all the people that want to say about Trump, he didn't start this pandemic. Period. He didn't. He's been one of the proponents like, I don't think this mask stuff is really so much, anyway. But so that's all I'm going to say about the political thing. But if you think, well, I don't like Trump, so I'm going to vote for this guy, you need to just not be pissed off at that. Are you serious? You really want this guy running our country? Holy Jesus, I wouldn't want him to run a local chapter of the Nitwit Society, let alone the government. And holy crap. Anyway. So, I'm sorry. It has not, it used to be all about the party. Nah. The Democratic Party is so corrupt. The Bernie Sanders thing and all. And Bernie's got some good ideas. He really does. But he don't stand up for them. He won't fight for them. He's a chicken poo. And, with a decent, some of his ideas and some of his, free for this, he had back last election, he had worked out a way to tax the rich people, and that was in any kind of trading that goes on with the stock exchange. So millions and billions of dollars are traded every day. So 1 cent, a penny for the transaction of some type of transaction tax that would be very small, but in the long run would add up to a chunk of change. I don't see anything wrong with that. I'm a poor person and I'm taxed every time I go to town to buy any item. Doesn't matter what my social or financial status is. I have to pay taxes on food, on this, on that, on clothing, on stuff. I have to pay taxes. Period. I have to pay taxes on my land so I can continue to live here. Even though it's paid for, I still have to pay the county for the privilege of living here. I can bitch all I want to, but that's the deal. So we can either go along with some of the stuff, or we can just, you know, spend our life groaning and moaning about it. So, how we look at what's going on, it's changing, it's ever changing. There's going to be more taxation, there's going to be more this, and depending on the city or state that you live and the population density, there's going to be some more changes. And if you think this planet is done moving around, forget about it. It's still going on. We're still having. I mean, there was an odd earthquake up around Maine the other day, yesterday, and another one down in Los Angeles area just a day or so ago. And there were some big ones that have been going. If you think the planet has settled down, forget about it. It hasn't. Okay. How much worse is it going to get? Well, 2022, 2024, in between now and then, but between those 2 years, it's supposed to be when a lot of stuff's happening. ET and this and blah, blah, blah. But in the long run, we can just look at society and go, look what's happened in the last 6 months of this year, and tell me things haven't changed. Now, we can either be really pissed off going forward with this, or we can say, wait a minute, I see what you're doing. Whoever is doing it, I see it. I'm aware of it. Now, are you going to suck me into this? Well, if I want to keep my job and I want to keep my driver's license, I want to keep this, and you tell me I got to get a shot, well, I can give up all that, or I can take the shot and, you know, flip a coin and see if I can make it, and hope to God that it doesn't make me sick or kill me, or whatever, mind control us or whatever. But there's enough mind control going on just watching the commercials on TV, or, you know, the internet commercials and the stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, here's one, for example. It's been an hour and almost a half. Oh my God, you folks are great. But here's this gun commercial, right? And it's a gun with a safety lock. And you put the bullets in a separate location when not in use. If somebody's going to break into your house, you're going to put the gun one place and your bullets in another, and you're going to lock them both up. So, intruder comes in your house, you got 2 minutes, maybe 3, maybe not that long, obviously. So you're going to, where's my key? I'm going to unlock my gun, and I got to go find the frickin' bullets that are in another drawer in the other room, so I can protect myself. But that's the commercials. So have a gun and protect this, and a gun won't shoot without the bullets. You're damn right. Well, what good's a gun if you don't have the bullets? So all these people, well, I'm going to be safe. You can be safe without having to separate them. Just take the bullets out of the chamber and put them with the gun. They don't have to be loaded. But oh my God, and I'm not a gun toter. But if I could, and I could have a pistol, I would. Now I would. But you can't hear an arrow coming. Just saying. And an arrow will penetrate a Kevlar vest. Just saying. But the idea, though, that you're going to keep the gun locked with a thing, so now you got to fumble with this. Somebody's breaking in the house, George. Oh my God, Brett, where's the gun? I don't know. Where's the freaking key? I don't know. The key to what? To the gun. I don't know, but oh shit. Where you go get the bullets, but it's in the other room. Yeah, but George, it's a burglar. Wait, get the baseball bat. Silent but deadly. So, and I got a baseball bat like right here. And one over by the door, too, in case. But the idea, though, that somebody breaks in, somebody going, what? Now, these are the commercials. So people are going to say, because they saw this commercial, you got a gun in your house? Well, the only safe way is to have a gun lock. And this, and then that, and then this. No, what you need to do is train the people in your house to know with the guns. And if you do, teach them how to shoot it, how to load it, how to deal with it, how to put it up safely. But to lock everything up because you have a weapon defeats the purpose of having the weapon. unless you're just going to go out and target practice. Well, then separate everything. Take the frickin' gun apart. But now these are commercials, so people are being brainwashed about this stuff. And I don't even own a pistol. Well, I don't own a gun either. Well, I own an air pistol, an air rifle that's not working at the moment. But the idea that whatever it is on safety, whatever it is for this or that and for that and this and this and that, they've gone nuts with the rules, with our own safety. Well, if you don't keep the bullets in the other room, how are you going to be safe from your gun? I'm going to be safe from my gun because I'm going to know how to use it. That's how. Don't be afraid of it. Teach all the kids in the house. I don't care if they're 6 years old. Teach them how not to fire it. Teach them where the safety is. Teach them what it is. Teach them. Back in the old days, in the wild, wild west, a 6-year-old could shoot an Indian. Oh, just saying, you know, or a burglar or a bad man, or, you know. But no, I'm all for safety. But I know some people who are supposedly like saying that I wouldn't trust with, you know, and they're in the government. So what do, right? We keep our heads down. Like I've talked about me being in prison before, but to the point though, if you all are now in prison and it does not feel good. I've been in prison on serious lockdown, couldn't go outside. I never had a chance to go outside. Once in a while, once a week, they'd let me go down and empty the garbage and smoke a cigarette out back on the stoop. Yeah, right. That was my, you know, for a year, that was my only outside activity besides, you know, being, you know, in chains and going to the courthouse. But we're all in prison right now. For me, it's minimum security. Yeah, you can walk around the grounds. This as long as you don't run, you know, meaning off the grounds or whatever. So we're trustees right now. The big lockdown hasn't come. But to many folks who've never had to be locked down, they're feeling this anxiety and the pressure. And with this ever-changing, everyday picture, we don't know what's coming next. But just be patient, because it's going to change again. If you think tomorrow's the norm, wait till next week. We got a hurricane coming up the East Coast kind of thing. You know, we don't know. So it's like, but we've got storm warnings. Now we can say there's a hurricane down there and it looks like it's coming up through Florida, one way or the other. And there's going to be rain, and there's probably going to be some high wind, but how much water, how high the winds, where it's going to end up, doesn't really matter at this point, because it's hurricane season, and all of us on the east, from the Mississippi east, knows we should have candles, have a little extra water, have some extra batteries and flashlights. We should have that bit of preparedness. So now we got a warning. There's one coming up the coast. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I got an extra gallon of gas, or maybe 2. I've got a generator that I've never even put gas in. I'm holding out, right? But maybe just in case, I need to go out there and put some gas in it and fire it up to make sure it runs. Brand new, you know, never been fired. But to the point though, why wait until it's too late? In other words, should I wait until Monday when the storm might be here and high winds? Or should I go to town tomorrow and get a gallon of gas and mix it up and try it out? You know what I mean? And have an extra gallon just in case I need it. That's not to be like paranoid, but I got the gas cans and I got the generator and but I'm not quite prepared. I don't have the 2 of them together yet. So I could be sitting here with no electricity for 2 days and being pissed because I didn't have the gumption to mix up a couple of gallons of gas for my generator. Now, I got plenty of 12-volt lights and stuff, but to my point, the only thing I really need air, or the thing is my refrigerator. My refrigerator runs for a couple hours, you know, every 12 hours to keep everything fairly cold and frozen in the freezer. I, that's the only thing I lost during the storms. And the freezer worked pretty good. And some of the stuff in the refrigerator, it was a little iffy, but it still stayed cold. And I could put ice in the refrigerator to help anyway. But the idea, though, so I don't have to run my house. Having a couple of fans would be nice, but so I don't have to run this thing 24/7. Um, but I don't have. I'm not. I'm prepared, but not ready. So there are those of us who have things that we can be prepared for, meaning our talents, our whatever, where we live, whatever it is. But whether or not we can utilize our talents when it's necessary. If the storm comes and we're caught off guard, son of a bitch, I should have had some extra gas. Now the lights are out and nobody can pump gas. And I could have damn it, I got gas cans out there that are empty. So I could have went to town and got a couple of gallons of gas. But that's up to me. It's not the storm's fault. But the last time we had a storm and I lost lights, I went through this same thing, you see. I had the this and I had the that, but I didn't have the gas. And now I'm sitting here going, well, that was a month or two ago, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm sitting here, storm coming up. I need to go get gas for the generator I already have, blah, 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 just in case. So with the ever-changing picture, we look at what we've got, whatever our talents are, whatever our resources are, and say, okay, look for the holes. Well, I got a thing and I got a that, but I don't have any gas. Get some. That's just a minor. Well, I've got propane tanks, okay? I just put another one on. I got an empty sitting out there. Just in case, not that I'm out of gas, but just in case when I go to get the gasoline for the generator tomorrow or Saturday, I'm going to go ahead and get another 20-pound tank of propane. So I'll have an extra. I'm not going to wait for this one to go down. I'm going to go ahead and get another refill. It might be 3 or 4 months before I use the tank. Not the issue. I'm going to have the other ones because I got it. I'm going to go ahead and spend $20 and get a refill. I'm going to be prepared just in case. Doesn't cost me that much. It's not out, I can give up this or that or, somebody was talking to me and they said something about how much money they spent. Actually, I've had two people, but I'm thinking of the other one and instead of BC. But how much money they spent on food and for a month and their supplies and stuff. And I was like, how much money did you spend? Now I spent $117 the other day at the store, but I bought 5 packs of cigarettes at $3.50 a piece. So there's a chunk of change right there. I bought $25 worth of dog food. And I bought some, some Raid and a dust mop and, but as far as food is concerned, I only bought $30, maybe $40 worth of food. That lasts me 10 days. And I got plenty of other stuff on the shelf and on the wall. And, and I'm thinking to myself, what in the world are people buying and at what price that they're spending $300 or $400 every 10 days or so? And I don't spend that much, not counting cigarettes and, my little Kickstart drinks. I don't have to have these, but I like them. So I buy a couple of them every time I go to the store. Every once a week, I buy a couple of them, if they have them. Because the idea that I can't live without these, but there are some people who can't live without their whatever it is. They become so accustomed to having it in their lives, they don't know what to do. And now's the time to go back over some of your things and go priorities and say what's really important and what should I get my panties in a wad over? What should I get upset about? And the bottom line is nothing. If we're carrying any anger or anything forward, it's going to hurt us because it's going to keep us from looking at how we need to adapt. Every single day, some of us are going to have to adapt to situations. When I worked in the plant with 1,000 machines, Something was always breaking. So, you'd walk in the door and go, well, Ardo's number 4 just went down. I got 2 dies and the thing cracked and we're going to, we need you right away. Oh, holy crap. Well, I got that other project is not hot anymore. We have just rearranged your schedule, Hawkeye. You're going to work on that machine until we get it back up. Well, okay. So over the years, I've learned to adapt and to be adaptable. But a lot of people, if their order of the day is one step out of line, it just freaks them out and their whole day. And it's gonna creep them out and freak them out. And otherwise, they're not going to know how to react and to act. So we need to help some of these people out, if nothing more than just by being calm. And some folks, whatever they're eating or drinking or whatever, I don't know, but I'm alive and I don't spend that much money. And I'm as healthy as I could possibly be under the circumstances. But the fact that somebody's are spending $1,000 a month on food, I gotta say, what the are you eating? And what? I mean, I don't know. And I can go to the local store and get some nice cuts of meat if I so choose to have meat. It's my own personal thing that I say, I'm gonna, now me and the dog we need some ribs because he loves chewing on them rib bones. I don't have any teeth, so he can have the bone. But the idea that I don't have to have it. Now, at certain times in my life, I had to have meat at every meal. I mean, maybe not breakfast, but once a day, there had to be meat in a meal. Not anymore. So we can change our own minds, we can change our own processes, and we can adapt if we want to. So we have to make up our minds now. It's not going to get any better anytime soon. So you might as well be willing to adapt. Make that decision now and say, I'm going to learn how to adapt, and I'm not going to be pissed about it. At least not for long. Well, damn it, I have this plan today. Oh, well, we'll reschedule. Don't get upset about it, because there's a lot of times it's out of our control, and trying to, we can manifest a better tomorrow. Not if the cops come and shut off the interstate and say you can't go anywhere. What are you talking about? Well, one time on a way to a puppet show in Tennessee, was going through Atlanta. They shut down 6 lanes of traffic before you got to 285 that goes around just before the airport, because the president was coming in. Now I was like, why in the hell did they shut off the interstate? And I mean, they had state patrol all the lanes were shut off because they were afraid somebody might be under the airplane and shoot it down. And I mean, there are boatloads of people. The whole I-75, just south of 285. Actually, there's that 265 that cuts off. It was just before there. They wouldn't let anybody pass. Nobody could get on because the plane was coming in. Atlanta, 6 lanes of traffic. You turned around, 50 miles behind us, traffic's backed up. And the people back there don't know what the hell's going on. And they got both ways because the president's flying over. What about those thousands of people who were late, and thousands of people who got stuck in traffic, and thousands of people who might have not had enough gas and they were like on their last leg, and no warning, no nothing. We saw the state patrol going by in the fast lane kind of thing, and the next thing we knew, there were cop cars all over the highway, and we were stopped. We were like 4 or 5 cars back from the thing. And we were like, hey, what's going on? The president's coming into Atlanta, Hartsfield. So you got to stop traffic on I-75, north and south? Yeah, they did. My point is, could any of us have foreseen it? Not us dumb clucks on the ground, but the higher muckety mucks, like downtown Thomasville. When I worked at a theater, The wall of one side of the theater is the other is the wall to the hunting store and the supplies and guns and stuff. Anyway, and it was no secret that Dick Cheney done a lot of quail hunting and stuff down here. In fact, that one guy he shot back in the day was on a plantation near Albany, Georgia, north of here. But they had the whole downtown blocked off with Secret Service because Dick Cheney wanted to go in this flipping store next to the theater. So I'm looking outside, and I go outside the door, and I open it up, and there's a Secret Service guy standing there going, "What do you want?" And I'm like, what the hell's going on? "Oh, the vice president is in this building. You'll have to go back in and stay inside." And I'm like, Dick Cheney's in Thomasville? They shut down the whole downtown, couldn't get through or whatever, and people walking the street were suggested to stay indoors until he got his shopping done. What the F? Now, my point is, if you were going downtown that day and we're going to plan on something, how are you supposed to know that some uppity schmuck's going to be there and they're going to close your town down or close the interstate down or do whatever? You can't. But being pissed off about it and trying to worry about whether or not something like that's going to happen is just baloney. We just have to be prepared that stuff is going to happen. It is. Now, it can be very serious stuff, or it can just be minimal stuff that's going to piss us off for a little while. But the idea is, though, it is going to happen. And we just have to roll with the punches. So just keep the faith, baby. Keep it between the ditches, because if you think this roller coaster ride is over, no. Now, being aware that it ain't over, that's preparation. We can say, well, it's been like this for a while. I got enough toilet paper now, and I got enough of this, but I can't find any damn Louisiana hot sauce on the shelves. What happened to the hot sauce? I had plenty of what happened to the damn Louisiana hot sauce? I can get wasabi, but I can't get, my crystal, hot sauce. What's up with that? So, and next time I see that there's some on the shelf, I'm going to get two because I usually have one extra. Well, I've used my one extra. But what happened to the hot sauce? Well, I don't have to have it, but it's really good in Cajun. Yeah. But to the point, though, roll with the punches. It pissed me off. I still can't find any, but, it's like, maybe, whatever's happened, it'll come back, And if it doesn't, well, it was nice to know you, hot sauce, But to the point, though. So little things can bug us. Big things can bug us. Big things, earthquakes, this, time, economy crashing, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But if we keep the faith in here, because the end of it all, we are in a prison camp, a really big one at the moment. If you don't want to get shot by the Nazis, keep your head down. Don't rat on your neighbor. Keep as many friends as you can without pissing off more people, because in the long run, we all need each other. And so even our what we consider our enemy ain't our enemy, right? So we might have a disagreement with a friend or a relative or something, but they ain't the government. They ain't them guys. You know what I mean? So you might want to patch up some stuff just in case, because we don't know yet what's going to happen. But keep the faith in yourself. When it's all said and done, when we pass over, none of this is going to matter. Mostly. Nothing that we've accomplished in this life is really going to matter. It's going to matter how our energy is and what our frequency is. Thank you, Brian. But in the long run, it's all up to us. I can't help my neighbor into heaven, and he can't help me. It's our own energies. So regardless of what happens, it still boils down to us and how our energy is and how we're going to deal with the future. Panties in a bunch? Stand up and pull that, that wedgie out. You know what I mean? And get over it. You'll probably get another wedgie. Probably. But just understand that when you get it, you're going to go, oh, that's a wedgie, son of a, that's right. And don't get, oh, I got another wedgie. Yeah, okay. We warned you. More wedgies to come. And we're not going to like them. We are not going to like these wedgies. I'm not happy with some of the taxation and stuff and the blah, blah, blah down here. But you can't fight City Hall. So the best I can do is make sure I got enough money when the damn taxes are due and pay the bitches on time so I don't have to go in the court costs and all this other stuff, because in the past, that's what I did. I'm going to fight these sort of bitches. Damn my taxes. They went up, they upped them again and blah, 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 blah. But the bottom line is that if I don't pay them, they're going to lien my property and it's going to cost me a fortune. 3 times more than the taxes were. So $400 tax was going to be $1,200 by the time it went to court and did the thingy and the thumb and the blah, blah, blah. So which would you rather pay, $1,200 or $400? For? Do I want to pay $400? No. Do I want to pay $1,200? Oh, hell no. So what am I going to do? I'm saving money now to pay my taxes in December. So I got the bucks. So do I want to give $400 to the damn government? No. But I also don't want to pay $1,200 either. And it will go up if I don't pay them, So it's like, so sometimes we just got to swallow it, pride and all, and go, well, damn it. Better pay my taxes. Because what is our alternative? What is our solution? Oh, we can bitch and moan and we can elect different people and over time, but the bottom line is if it's due and you got to pay it, you got to pay it. They're not going to give you, well, we'll forgive you for this. No. They don't do that. So my friends, it's been dang near 2 hours that I've been sitting here running my mouth, and I've been kind of watching stuff go by over here. Let me put on my glasses. Put on my glasses. So I thank you, Bob. The internet calmed down. We thank you, Bob. Let's have some coffee this time around. Let's see what y'all are. Teresa says all living things need food, one way or the other. Yep. Hi, Michelle. I missed you earlier. C'est la vie. Yep. Debbie Bell. Yeah, one of the things that I always make sure I have. Now, this is just one of them, but Dollar General said sells these, and it's good and smart. Yeah. Dried cherries. Is that backwards to y'all? Because it is to me. But anyway, at the dollar store. Now, these are $1.50. Some of them are $2. It depends on the fruit. But I've got dried pineapple. I don't have any tea, so the bananas are out. But cherries, mangoes, the dried mangoes, different things. So I've got dried foods, but also I have been doing this experiment over the last many years, and I've got some canned goods that are literally going on 10 years old. And I've opened some of the cans and like, we're not going to eat this. But some of the cans of the food, peas, beans, field peas and stuff, fine. And now I found that I had stashed some tuna fish. Now this has been like, dang, going on 10 years ago that I stashed this tuna fish, right? Bunch of cans. And I've opened a few of them and make stir fry stuff with the tuna fish. I'm not too much into tuna fish salad. But fried tuna fish and mixed in with some things, okay. But anyway, to the point though, I forgot about it. So I'm like, well, I wonder if it's any good. tastes fine. There's nothing wrong with the cans. So if you can find something that you like, for example, fruit cocktail, or I've got some mandarin oranges in cans, and I check a can every once in a while just to see if it's still good, and then I replace them because well the can still, this one was good, so let me replace it. But I've got enough canned food, and this is what I realized: if you had to exist, one can of food a day of anything will sustain you. And you go, well, what do you mean? Well, if all you had was one can of pork and beans, if that's all you had to eat, but not necessarily that's the only thing you had to eat every day. But people back in the day ate a can of beans a day. They didn't have a lot of stuff that they could carry around with them. They ate small portions, and they were a lot hardier than we are today. And I've thought about this over the many times. The pioneers, that they could get by on a biscuit and some hardtack. Oh my God, if these people didn't have a piece of bacon and two eggs and a toast and a thing and a coffee and some juice, they didn't have a balanced breakfast. Oh, poor whiny pod. If you were back in the old days, you might have had to eat that egg raw, break it, eat it while you're going down the trail with a piece of old biscuit and a piece of turkey. And you were tickled to death to have food. Nowadays, I don't know how people, I used to spend a lot of money on food, don't get me wrong. But to the point though, these canned goods that I have chosen, and they're not all like Del Monte or anything like that, or the cheaper brand, but I've got fruit. So is it fresh? Well, in these cans, even after 5 or 6 years, they're still good. So if I can't get fresh oranges, I've got these fresh little mandarin oranges in a can. I've got fruit cocktail, and I've got this, and I've got canned cherries, and I've got other fruits and stocks and things and stuff. It ain't just corn or green beans. And I've got a really nice, good store of stuff with about 30 pounds of rice. But pastas, and I put the pastas in dry containers. There's a lot of moisture in my house at certain times of the year. But so you want to keep your stuff dry no matter what. But the cans, as long as the cans stay dry and in a good spot, and some of them got rusty on the bottom. One of the cans got old or something. But anyway, and it was back in the corner. Anyways, but after I cleaned them up, I was still able to heat it up and feed it to the critters. So it didn't really go to waste, even after the can was bad and I wouldn't eat it. So if you think that canned goods aren't good enough, think again and think one can per meal. And do you have to have 3 meals? Well, if there's 3 or 4 people, then a can for this person, a can for that one, you mix them together. Not necessarily combine them, but share them as a group. Everybody gets a little bit of something different. So you're not always eating the same thing over and over and over again. But when you're flipping hungry, doesn't matter. So, but this idea that, well, I have to have a this and I don't have a that, change. Try something different. Think out of the box. Think if you didn't have that ever again, what would you do? Anyway, my 10 cents worth on that. But my friends, I got a back cramp now. Wow, it's not even 11:30. Holy crap, I did this early. Anyone ever hear about pickled watermelon rind? Yes, Truth in Me. It's very good too, especially if it's done right. Truth says, I just canned peaches. Yeah, I just had some fresh peaches recently. The peach crop didn't do so good down here. We didn't have enough cold weather. You're welcome, Truth in Me. Anytime. Let me go back up here. And Candy Apple, I think you're there. Is that? Yeah. I hope tuna is great. Well, tuna is from the ocean and the toxic things and stuff, and so and I just recently purchased. I make this really good shrimp and scallop seafood it's not really a gumbo because it's more tomato based, but not a tomato sauce per se. And the little shrimpers are sautéed in butter along with the scallops, about half and half. And yeah, they're not deveined, but they are shelled, yeah. But so you saute them in some garlic and some butter and some onion, some of that hot sauce that I'm running out of. But a little bit of Cajun sauce, some filet gumbo if you got it, and pepper and some salt, and I always use sage, some ground sage in, and coriander works good in some things. You go what, and a dash of basil and a dash of this, and bring that, make yourself a roux with that, and then you slowly add in some, petite diced tomatoes, and you stir that in until it starts to get. You take a couple of really good dollops of some good Worcestershire sauce. Yeah, yeah. The Not the Frenches. I mean, get the Lee and Perrins. They make the best. But Worcestershire and a dash of some honest to God um, yeah, teriyaki. Is that the one? Yeah, teriyaki. Just a really good splash of that. Stir it all together and get it going good. And then you add. Um, I don't use tomato sauce too much, but I'll make a sauce using tomatoes. So basically, the petite tomatoes, you stir them up and up. Now I will add a squirt of tomato of ketchup. I mean, just that's my tomatoes. I don't use a can of sauce, not in this dish. But you stir all this up good, and you fry it up, and you add these in bell pepper, chop them up, and put them in there if you got them. And oh, don't forget the mushrooms, stems and pieces, and also the slices. I had a can of both of those drained, and let that simmer really good. And I got a skillet, that cast iron skillet. It comes about right up to there by the time you get everything done. And while you're doing that and simmering that off good, then you cook your pasta. Pick one, and I use elbows and shells and the bow ties all mixed together as if in the same pasta. And then you take some of that and you pour it on top of that, and you put yourself some cheese when you're done. Good. But they're shrimp. Yeah, they come out of the Gulf of Mexico. So there's some of them scallops. Now there's a lot of stuff in the ocean, and they're bottom feeders, blah blah blah. But once in a while, I just got to have me some some shrimp stuff. You know what I mean? So, but same thing with tuna. There ain't nothing wrong with the tuna per se, but it's how much you may eat of it that might be the issue later on. So, oh, the dadgum thing moved over here. I'm still trying to get used to this computer. Oh yeah, shrooms. Yeah, and that sounds good, except for the Worcestershire. It's just enough to put color into the sauce. It ain't like you had a lot. Um, but and I trust me, by the time you get all them mixed together and you saute them down right and make your roux, you won't know that there was any Worcester in it. It just gives color. Yeah, come on to Hawkeyes. I got a bigger skillet. I just cleaned it out, and it's ready to go. Slightly slanted truth. Hey, how are you? Over rice, but the thing is like, I grew up sort of down in when I grew up in Tampa. There's Italians and spaghetti, right, and pastas and the sauce and pasta mazzula, but the idea, though, that being up here in South Georgia, not the same. They got this one place called Mom and Dad's, and everybody's like, "Woo, Italian!" And I'm like, I can do better Italian at the house, but okay. And and everybody goes there, and everybody, oh, ooh, ah, about it, and I'm like, you all ain't had real Italian food, have you? I mean, seriously, yeah, and I'm not claiming that I have, but obviously, you're that. Okay, never mind. Small town, blah blah blah. But You know, Tampa used to have some really good restaurants. I'm sure they still do. You know, the Turf Club back in the day, honest to God, you would get a prime rib that was this thick, baked potato, and a big salad for like $9. And the thing was, oh my God, it was delicious. Don't know the turf. Well, I heard years ago that the Turf Club had moved or something. I don't know if it's still there, but back in the day, it was right downtown, just before you got to Kennedy Bridge, going over the river to Bayshore. But anyway, um, so anyway, talk about food and talk about this and talk about that. But the biggest thing is, my friends, don't get your panties in a wad. You know what I mean? There's going to be some serious changes, and for some of us, it's going to be like literally life changing. And for some of us, it's just going to be a pain in the butt. It's going to be a boil. It's going to be a big ass pimple, or it just might be a stub toe. But to the point, though, yep, it's coming. Yep, we're going to find them. Yeah, they're going to be here. And it's going to be mostly out of our control. But when you can control the id, when I was in prison, when I was in jail, yeah, I was behind bars, and yeah, I had to do this, and yeah, but I could still read. There was still, even though what I could do was limited, I still had time. Even though I worked 12 hours a day, from 6 to 6, in the kitchen by choice, but it got me money in the long run. I knew where all the good food was. I knew where the filet mignon was. I mean, I'm a prisoner in a serving time, and I'm eating filet mignon, and I got this and that, and I've made me a salad, and because I was in charge of the stock room and of all the both freezers and walk-ins. Yep. So yeah, I was in jail, but I ate well, gained 20 pounds, and got muscled up. And so, and I read a lot of books. I read about ley lines, and I read about stuff that people are just now, some of them are just starting to catch up on. And I read about it back in the 78 and 79. Some folks are just catching up with stuff I've known for, God, a lot of my life now. Not to brag, it just, but so my time in jail, I spent reading, I spent blah, blah, I did this, blah, 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 blah. And so, yeah, I was still in jail, but I was still free in here. It was the man and my attitude that kept me locked up. Now, if it had been more than a year, I might have changed my mind, or tune. But to the point, though, anybody who's in jail for any length of time, and I talked with some old timers. I mean, I was chained to a guy that was a 2-time murderer, first-degree murderer, and I'm chained to this guy. Big, giant fella said, if I run, you're coming with me. And I'm like, yes, sir. Where do you want to run? you know, but the idea, though, so it's in our heads. Are you in prison? Well, I saw guys every day wake up. I'm still in jail. Yeah, you haven't served your time. Well, I'm still in jail. Okie dokie. I wake up and, well, there's another one gone. One day closer to the end. Going to be a short timer one of these days. Another one down. Wake up the next day and say, I made it through another one. I made it through another one. So, oh, that damn, I still got 40 days to do. I only got 40 days to do. It's a matter of opinion. I'm happy I only have 40 more days. And you're pissed because you got 40 more days. So, but either way, we both did the 40 days. You know what I'm saying? So his anger at it didn't do any good. Mine was like, and I actually got out a little early. Because I sent a letter to the judge, and I sent a blah, 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 blah. And I had a good reputation at the jail because I had the lieutenant and the warden and the sergeant over the kitchen, who all three spoke on my behalf. Because I was respectful. And I didn't kiss anybody's ass, but I did what I thought I was told, and I did it with respect. They respected me, and it all worked out in the long run, and I got out about a week early. Not a lot, but a week earlier. So I only served 30 days when the other guy had to serve all 40 because he was in population and he was an asshole and he kept banging the bars. I played along. Didn't have to do anything untoward. I did have to say, yes, sir, boss man, no, sir, boss man. And I did it willingly because they're the boss. And if you don't realize it and you try to be anything more than you are, then you're going to population, you're going to solitary, wherever your prison is. So it's all up here, though. State of mind. So your state of mind right now, is it going to get worse? Probably. Are more people going to die? Not so sure about that part. But the chances are there are going to be more people who die of respiratory illness because of the flipping mask than they're good. That's my 10 cents. But anyway, the idea, though, that any of it should stress us out to the point where we lose who we are, we lose it, we're going to be pissed. We're going to have bad days, yes, but take it in stride. Slightly Slanted says, I'm doing life. Yeah, me too. Um, State of the mind is stately. Yep, among other things. But the biggest thing, though, in this life, and unless you've been incarcerated and have literally had your rights taken away, this is an inconvenience to me. Am I happy about it? No. But I realize that there's just so much. We have our conversations. I state my opinion, which is we all got buttholes, right? So, but one's as good as another. Can you poo better than me? I don't know. So does that mean one butthole works better than another? You know what I'm just saying. So, but how we look at the situation, if it's out of our control, then fine. I'm always had, especially since I'm in jail, have been in jail, have looked at the situation and said, you know what, I if I just say yes sir, no sir, yes boss man, and I call them, that's what exactly what I call them. But the sergeant, the corporal, didn't matter who was the jailer. Yes sir, boss man. Time to go up. No. Yes sir, boss man. No sir, boss. Are you done? No, no sir, boss man. I'll be through in a few. Okay, well hurry up. Yes sir, boss man. And I did it with respect, even though they knew I was like copying an old movie. What we have here is a failure to communicate. Yes sir, boss man. But the thing is that they understood I meant it because they were the boss. And it was sort of me and the little Mexican Joe, friend of mine in jail. It was what we did. But I did it with respect. Yes, sir, boss man. Now, later on, I dropped the boss man part, but it was also always yes, sir, no, sir. Yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Regardless of who the person was, I'm in jail. I'm in the colors. I ain't got a choice. But if I'm rude or disrespectful or whatever, they'll put him in solitary. But simply that simple act, you just be surprised at how far along it gets you. Now, if I'd have been in a Nazi German, a Nazi concentration camp, don't know if it'd work. But in my situation, in the jail system and so forth, as long as you don't rock the boat and you're respectful and do what you're told. And the time I didn't do what I was told, I went to population, but was out in less than a week. But anyway, I've told that story, but it really is funny. Anyway, at least to me, not so much to the guard, but he got put on suspension and sent to the hellhole of Hillsborough County jails. But 9 Mile Creek, 11 Mile Creek? Anyway, something Mile Creek. Anyway, my friends, listen. I want to smoke this cigarette really, really bad. And it's been 2 hours and it's been sitting here. So, see, I could have lit it, could have smoked it, and I didn't. I love you all. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for you guys sharing with each other. And I know you listen in and you participate, and I keep repeating myself, but in this trying time, don't lose faith. And the faith is in you, and the ever-changing picture puzzles. Find out, find out what parts of the, okay, so your pictures change. Find out what's left over that you can use. You've got talent. You've got a head on your shoulder. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to get on a computer and get in the chat. You know certain things. You know how to cook some stuff. So it's like, oh, and by the way, that dish I was telling you about, you have to use at least a teaspoon of molasses, blackstrap molasses, and at least a tablespoon of honey, raw honey, and mix that in. And you go, well, that'll make it sweet. It counteracts the taste of the bitterness of the tomatoes, so the tomatoes aren't so bitey. But yeah, what I've cooked, people look at me and go, "You put what in there?" Well, after you eaten your first plate, now I'm going to tell you what I put in it. Molasses? You put molasses in this? Yeah. Molasses? Yeah. And a big dollop of honey. What? What? It's no good? No, it's delicious, but you did what? Be surprised at the combinations and things, and what a little bit of this and a little bit of that mixed with something else, it'll draw certain flavors out and whatever. So I made pork chops one time, a friend of mine still, with grape jelly. Okay, and a pretty, like a half a jar of grape jelly, but you saute it in with some other stuff, a little bit of onion and whatever, and you smear the pork chops with the grape jelly and make your sauce with that. What? To this day, they swear they have never tasted a pork chop as good as the grape jelly pork chops I used to make. Yeah, you've used pear jelly? Yeah. I got several pear trees around. I'm hoping I get pears this year. But whatever you have, you'd be surprised. I mean, like for me, and the kind of cooking that me and my brother used to do, only me now, but and throwing something in a wok and a little of this and a dash of that and a pinch of this, and the meals, oh my God, that you can have in just like 20 or 30 minutes, rival anything that you'll eat in any restaurant, and it's not that hard to do. But maybe one of these nights we'll just discuss cooking. But I've worked with some Cajun cooks and some other folks, some Italian cooks. A good friend of mine, his dad worked at a famous restaurant. Not sure if it's still there in Tampa, but he was a chef there for years, and he taught me about using sugar in with tomatoes and tomato sauce, and to Michelle Days, what cracks her up. Good for you. We all need a smile. Thanks for hanging out with me, gang. Thank you. You are my soul tribe. You are my friends from other mothers and fathers. You are friends of mine from other galaxies. You are friends of mine from other dimensions and other reality. You are my friends in the universe and the cosmos. You are members of the League of Like-Minded Beings. You are members of the Soul Tribe. And you are my friends whether you like it or not. So there, take that to the bank and whatever. So Michelle, Teresa, Truth in Me, Project Skyfalls, you live me too? I'm picking on you. Truth in Me, Chloe, everybody. If you can't get back in the chat to say adios or good night, understand. And if I missed your name, oh, David, Michelle, if you're still there. Yeah, there you are. Dum, da, da, dum. We love you too. So keep sharing the love, my friends. And I'm not to, me, I'm gonna say there's rough stuff a coming. But as I said going on 2 years ago on Brian and Milky Way show, get yourself in an inner tube, because the waves of energy, the waves of stuff, find yourself a good solid inner tube and put yourself in it. Robert V, if you're still out there, get yourself in an inner tube, because that's the only thing that's really going to go with these waves and these energies. So stay safe, keep it between the ditches. And I'll close as always, and as I truly mean. I pray each and every day that each and every one of you will learn to accept and receive and reject the crap from the universe. And that I hope that you will accept and receive the wisdom, the knowledge, and all of the healings and etc. from the universe. I continue to pray each and every day that each and every one of you will continue to accept and receive with your relatives and all of your relations the knowledge, the healing, and the wisdom of the universe, and that you will continue to reject the negative that is being forced upon us. And as a rule of three, I continue to pray that each and every one of you, your relatives, your friends, your neighbors, and all of your relations, past, present, and to come, will learn to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, and the wisdom of the universe, and that you continue to share it, and that you continue to reject the chaos that is being put upon us. So, yeah, some days I'm silent, and I'm going to try, as again, to try to hang out with you a few more times a week. And tonight was a little earlier at 9:35 kind of thing instead of 12. So might pick up a few, might lose a few folk. But anyway, I love you. Stay safe. I mean that. And try to stay as calm as you can, regardless of what the outside world's trying to throw at us. Because when you lose control of the self, we've lost it. So I love you all. Cheers, my friends. Truth in me, Michelle, Teresa, as always, and Teresa, Michelle, blah, 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 blah. Yes, Ween, and thank you, Bob. Thank you for a mostly stable connection for 2 hours and 16 minutes and 45 seconds. Cheers, everybody. Much love. Spread what you can and keep the rest to yourself. And we can't, and by the way, we can't save everybody, but we can save ourselves. And that's the most important thing. So I love you. And until next time, be safe. TTFN from South Georgia.